Hello, I'm Jennifer. Welcome to another episode of Case Brief, brought to you by the Missouri Sheriff's Association. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone that this information is for training purposes only and in no way is to be considered legal advice. Today, we focus on an 8th Circuit court case involving prolonged vehicle stops and pat-down searches. Our goal is to provide a clear understanding of how such cases unfold. Remember, this content is educational and not legal advice. Let's dive into the details. Facts of the case. On January 30th, 2021, St. Louis County Police Officer William Ware was on patrol in Jennings, Missouri. Around 2:06 a.m., he received a call from dispatch for a welfare check at a gas station in an area known for heavy narcotic use. Officer Ware was informed that a truck had been idling at a gas pump for over 2 hours, despite the gas station closing at midnight. Upon arrival, Officer Ware located a tan Chevrolet Silverado parked and running with its headlights on at a gas pump. The truck also had an open bed trailer attached to it, which contained construction tools and materials. Officer Ware approached the vehicle, used a flashlight to peer inside, and located an individual passed out in the driver's seat. After Officer Ware knocked on the window, the individual awoke and identified himself as Hamber. Officer Ware directed Hamber to turn off the vehicle and began asking him questions. Aside from appearing as if he had just been woken up, Hamber responded appropriately to Officer Ware's questions and told him that he probably was asleep because he had been working all day since 5:30 in the morning. Officer Ware asked if there were any firearms in the truck, and Hamber said no. Hamber then handed Officer Ware his driver's license, and Officer Ware went back to his vehicle to run a license check. In running the license, Officer Ware learned that Hamber potentially was a convicted felon. Officer Ware then returned to Hamber's truck and asked him to step out of the vehicle to see whether he was able to drive or not, as Hamber was still part of an ongoing investigation. Hamber complied. Officer Ware then directed him to the back of the truck and asked if he had any weapons on him. Hamber informed him that he had a knife. Officer Ware asked Hamber, "Do you mind if I search you then real quick?" Hamber asked Officer Ware to repeat the question, then answered, "Do what you gotta do." Officer Ware proceeded to pat down Hamber, finding not only the knife, but also a loaded pistol. Officer Ware seized the pistol and knife and placed Hamber in handcuffs while he contacted the St. Louis County Records Center, which confirmed Hamber was a convicted felon. Officer Ware then placed Hamber under arrest. Motion to suppress. Hamber moved to suppress the pistol, claiming it was obtained during a warrantless pat-down search conducted without his voluntary consent in violation of his Fourth Amendment rights, citing Terry. After a hearing, the magistrate judge issued a report and recommendation recommending that the district court deny the motion because Officer Ware had reasonable suspicion to search Hamber under Terry, and Hamber had voluntarily consented to the pat-down search that revealed the pistol. The district court adopted the report and recommendation in full, and Hamber was ultimately convicted following a jury trial. Hamber appealed. The appeal. Hamber appeals the denial of his motion to suppress, but concedes that Officer Ware had probable cause for the initial stop and does not challenge the district court's determination that he voluntarily consented to the pat-down search. Therefore, the only issue on appeal is whether Officer Ware impermissibly extended the stop in violation of Hamber's Fourth Amendment rights after initially speaking with Hamber, running his license, and determining the license was valid. Hamber's argument. Hamber does not dispute the initial stop. He argues instead that Officer Ware impermissibly extended that stop beyond what was necessary to achieve its objective. A constitutionally permissible traffic stop becomes unlawful when its length exceeds the time needed to attend to the stop's mission and related safety concerns. Hamber argues that Officer Ware impermissibly extended the stop by ordering him out of his vehicle after running his license, and that, Under the totality of the circumstances, Officer Ware did not have the required reasonable suspicion of criminal activity to extend the stop. The court's decision. In Hamber's view, the initial stop concluded once Officer Ware determined his license was valid. The court disagreed. Officer Ware had an objectively reasonable suspicion that Hamber was unfit to drive sufficient to extend his investigation. The court's reasoning. Officer Ware discovered Hamber asleep at the wheel of his running vehicle at a gas station in an area known for heavy narcotic use around 2:06 a.m., 2 hours after the gas station had closed. The court took note that Hamber was discovered because of a request for a welfare check. While Hamber responded appropriately when questioned, it was objectively reasonable for Officer Ware to ask Hamber to step out of the vehicle to confirm that Hamber, 1, was not under the influence of any drugs or alcohol, and 2, could safely operate the vehicle and not injure a member of the public in doing so. The entire purpose of the stop was to address safety-related concerns, and Officer Ware ordering Hamber out of his vehicle to assess whether he could drive was directly and reasonably related in scope to the circumstances. Hamber argued Officer Ware continued to question him solely because Officer Ware thought he was a convicted felon, and any other reason is pure pretext. The court found this argument is without merit, citing that subjective intentions play no role in ordinary probable cause Fourth Amendment analysis. The court cited, once an officer has probable cause, the stop is objectively reasonable, and any ulterior motivation on the officer's part is irrelevant. The Eighth Circuit Court concluded that the district court did not err in denying Hamber's motion to suppress. Key points. Unlawfully extending a vehicle stop. In its ruling in Rodriguez v. United States in 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court referenced that, even if a stop is legally justified, officers cannot extend it beyond the time necessary to address the original reason for the stop unless specific legal justifications exist. The court held that a vehicle stop cannot be prolonged beyond the time needed to complete the mission of the stop, i.e., addressing the traffic violation without independent reasonable suspicion of a separate crime. Staying within legal boundaries. Officers must complete the traffic stop without unnecessary delays. They can conduct routine checks, license, registration, outstanding warrants, only as long as they do not unreasonably prolong the stop. To lawfully extend a stop beyond the initial violation, officers must develop independent, articulable, reasonable suspicion of additional criminal activity. A hunch or gut feeling is not enough, and a driver's nervousness alone is not typically considered reasonable suspicion. Best practices for officers. Always ensure a valid legal reason for the stop. Complete the stop efficiently without unnecessary delays. Document observations thoroughly if developing additional reasonable suspicion, and respect constitutional rights to avoid suppressible evidence and civil liability. Conclusion. Officers must be cautious not to unlawfully extend vehicle stops beyond their original purpose. Understanding and adhering to legal standards ensures that evidence remains admissible in court, protects both officers and agencies from legal challenges, and respects the constitutional rights of those who officers serve. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Case Brief. We hope this analysis provided valuable insights into prolonged traffic stop procedures. Stay tuned for more episodes brought to you by the Missouri Sheriff's Association. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. We look forward to bringing you more informative episodes in the future.